As expected from the fight between Mukaku and Shen Wulong, it isn't looking good for the old man. I think all of us going into this fight, upon seeing Shen's flashback about him destroying Mukaku and all of his boys when they all pulled out the advance, how easy that was. A one-on-one between Shen and Mukaku, regardless of all the experience he was able to gain over like the 80 years since that fight and whatever planning he's done, it isn't going to go too well for him. I'm very glad we're actually seeing the fight occur. I was very scared that they were going to actually cut away and we were just going to see Mukaku's dead body or something along the lines of that. They're actually showing it. Chapter 215 was fully dedicated to them two fighting. We got quite a few little interesting things to talk about regarding what Shen and Mukaku said, and some stuff in the previous chapter I'll also talk about. But first, subscribe for more Kengan content. That's what I provide on this channel, Mysterious Weeb. The anime for Kengan Ashura is returning in September, so absolute hype. Some of the greatest fights in the whole series, Waka vs Julius opening up the season, is going to be absolute fire. But now let's go over some stuff in the chapter. So it seems like the boys are now leaving the inside, meaning this arc could be coming to an end unless the other worms actually pull up on the group, such as the Tiger Niko, Yan, etc. That would be absolute insanity and would expand this arc to next levels, but I get the feeling that we're gonna end this arc with Mukaku being killed. Something about Kiryu, maybe him actually meeting up with the Tiger Niko and having their fight or something along the lines of that. But all the Kengan boys are gonna leave the inside and we may begin preparing for the new Kengan Annihilation tournament, which was confirmed all the way back to when the Berserker Ball was announced. So absolute hype for that. Also, what Kazi saw on the TV like 6 or 7 chapters ago, that hasn't been revealed whatsoever, so maybe expect that in the next few chapters. Just keep that in the back of your mind. I try to mention that in like every video I talk about regarding Kengan. Something else regarding the Niko style is when you pull up this panel, this is what Ohma says. His Niko style is not like ours, referring to Mukaku. My Niko style was elevated to a martial art by my master. So it seems like Ohma's master expanded on the Niko style much more than we initially expected. Of course, I'm on the camp that he's the one who actually created the Demon's Bane, and that was something he created with his friend that escaped from the forest later in life. Of course, some people hold the theory that Mukaku had multiple secret techniques, but based on everything we've seen, and if you look at flashback scenes between Ohma and his master, it seems like he actually created it, so that's my theory for now, or the camp I'm currently aligned with. Then Ohma saying to Koga, what happens to the Niko style from now on is up to you. Once again, passing the Niko style down to Koga, which does make me think Ohma may be on some type of suicide mission, as he's kind of speed running, pretty much passing the Niko style down to another, which is a little interesting. Ohma should still be in his 30s, so he's not really that old, and it seems a little bit fishy, but Ohma dying at some point in Kengan Omega will most likely be the case, if I'm being honest. Also talking about how it's up to Ryuki to develop the Gar style, as it's pretty much a fake martial art, but with the help of Koga and others, I'm guessing Ryuki is definitely going to be able to develop the Gar style in his own way and expand on the fake martial art, which is going to be pretty cool to see in the future of the story. The Kengan and the Omega are finally back together. Now to talk about Mukaku vs Shen and how strong these two actually are, especially Shen. For example, we have Ohma who says this about Mukaku. If you just read what it says, I don't know about this connector, but our old man's a monster in human form. Ohma wanting to leave the inside quickly because of Mukaku's strength. And then if we look at the fight between Shen and Mukaku, Shen is pretty much treating him like nothing. So if Ohma acknowledges current Mukaku's strength as an absolute monster, wants nothing to do with it, how will anyone in the story be able to deal with Shen? And then we even got some comparisons to make to the other high level worm members from Shen himself, the resident power scale in the verse. As my thumbnail says, he's pretty much the Yudro of the Kengan verse at this point. But this is what he says: you're strong, I admit it. I assume only a handful of the people close to me would be able to beat you. Yan would probably make the cut, which means Mukaku is pretty much top level worm level, and that Yan is most likely the weakest out of the Tiger Niko and Gilbert, and potentially that one other head of the worm member we haven't actually seen yet. His name was just dropped by the Tiger Niko. So out of that group, we can actually make a ranking. Yarn, I guess, was already assumed to be the weakest of the group, but this is more so confirming it. And then we can place Mukaku on the same level of Yarn, or potentially just one level below, which does make us question of where Ohma would actually place, as these panels indicate that he's actually scared to some degree of Mukaku's power. Does this mean he would lose in a one-on fight against him? Not 100%, but most likely implying it would be a super hard fight, especially with Mukaku's personality, his line, everything like that. You wouldn't really know what to expect from him, so I guess that does play into what Ohma said about him as well. But still, pretty interesting stuff, and the top level worm members are also quite strong. Mukaku's here, Yarn, Gilbert, the Tiger Niko, and then Shen's is, you know, past the screen. You can't even really scale him at this point. It's not even close, so no idea how anyone's going to take him out in the future of the story. It's going to be pretty interesting, as for Koga or Oki to get to this level, it needs to be quite absurd, and it wouldn't really make sense for them to get a crazy increase to such a high degree like this, unless some way during this fight Mukaku is able to damage the connector in some way that will pretty much make him nerfed in the future of the story, which would be good for Mukaku, but I don't really see it happening. For example, Mukaku says this about Shen: this is more than just pre-initiative, he's on a level all on his own. So even the strongest ability of pre-initiative most of us pretty much agree on is nothing compared to the level current Shen is on. And just look at Mukaku in this panel here, man is low-key freaking out. We also get it confirmed that for Mukaku to be so strong and fast at his old age, being over 100, it's because he's, you know, taking the goods. Even claiming that he's got more brute strength now than what he did in his youth. So when it comes to physical power, this Mukaku fighting Shen is the strongest we've ever seen, and Shen is able to just hold him off with this blade without even trying. Not due to physical strength, due to what he claims as principles, which of course is pretty much his technique. His technique and understanding of fighting is so superior to the likes of Mukaku and most likely everyone else, he can make up a difference of raw strength without even trying. Once again, just something that Yujiro kind of does in the series. The power of techniques is what overcomes raw power, stuff like that. So once again, Shen, this absolutely monstrous. I'm guessing we're going to have one more full chapter for the fight, as Shen has kind of gotten more serious, as he actually made him block an attack rather than dodging, claiming that he hasn't stopped an attack in a long time, so he's going to give Mukaku a chance to kill him now. So the real fight is most likely going to happen next chapter. I'm guessing Mukaku is going to enter the advance, and he may end up blowing his heart up or ending himself before Shen even has the chance to take him out, which would be pretty badass. I'm just hoping for his sake he does one little bit of damage, even if it's a scratch on Shen, to kind of show he isn't absolutely untouchable. If Shen just takes out Mukaku without damaging him whatsoever, like it has been this chapter, it's going to be pretty weird to see how Shen's going to be dealt with in the future story, considering this, and how much of a power creep we will actually require. As once again, Mukaku on the level or a tiny bit below top members of the worm, and then Shen's able to deal with him like this, meaning Shen could deal with the likes of Gilbert and the Tiger Niko to a similar degree, which is just crazy to think about. But that's pretty much everything for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Check out all the other stuff in the description if you haven't already, such as joining the Discord if you want to talk about Kengan more, 7,000 members and counting, free to join, stuff like that, link in the description, and also shout out to these mad lads who support the channel via the Patreon. But that's it guys, peace.